Yeah, I'm
Three,
sure it
two,
is.
one, and go. What's that? You already went? Oh,
Yeah.
no.
Oh, no.
Oh, I wasn't ready. Just kidding. Welcome to the Brothers Game Podcast. I'm Nicolai.
And I'm Brian.
Are you ready for video games?
You're about to get uncomfortably
I'm
Video-
already playing video games.
Yep.
This is one of those episodes where Nicolai shiny hunts while recording the podcast. Because, as I stated to Brian, the grind never stops.
That's right.
Anyway, what's up?
Speaking of the grind never stopping, I played and beat a video game between our last episode and now.
So I've heard you played it one whole video game.
That's right.
Thank God, because we need something to talk about. Well, I guess tell us about that game.
Okay, so I played
We're going to get right into it. It's been like
and beat
a minute.
Dragon Age Origins for the
Ta-da.
Xbox 360, released in 2009.
Nice.
Because I still haven't actually caught up to the 2010s
That's
yet.
the back.
I still
that's
have
the backlog.
a few in the backlog that are older than that.
That's wonderful.
Like the original Assassin's Creed. Still haven't actually
Nice.
ever beat it.
It's okay. That's an okay game. Yeah.
Dude, at the time, it was so cool. But anyway.
Oh yeah, incredible
So,
for its time.
my history with this game, I was introduced to it by our friend Ben near when it came out. So, it was pretty new when I first played it. And he had me go through the intro of the game. This is not the first time this happened, that he invited me over to his house for me to play a single player game that he was excited about.
Nice.
Whatever.
Sure.
Guy friendships. That's how we are.
Yeah. I feel like that happened with like Zelda also as like kids, you know?
Well, like I also remember going to other friends' houses and watching them play a single player game.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's not necessarily
it was
a unique experience.
It was analog Let's Plays.
Yes.
It's fine.
One-on-one Let's Plays.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you can be any you can pick from a number of races. You can pick male or female, and you can pick which class you want to be, and that determines how and where you start. And no matter what actions you take, you will eventually become a member of the Grey Wardens.
Okay.
Either something happens to you, or you do something that results in becoming one of the Grey Wardens. So the goal of the Grey Wardens is to stop the Darkspawn, which are evil,
spooky,
zombie-like creatures that just want to wipe out all of living things.
Lovely. That sounds like a video game.
Yep. The backstory is like the Imperium was too greedy, and they were punished for their sins and became the Darkspawn. Anyway,
that's cool.
So the Grey Wardens are specifically people that fight the Darkspawn. They drink Darkspawn blood, and and you either die from it or you gain immunity to it.
You got roll strong.
Yeah, and so if you gain immunity to it, you become a Grey Warden, and then
it's like the sand arrow.
Yeah, and you can pretty much, and you can detect if there are Darkspawn nearby, and they are being led by an archdemon, which is a dragon.
So I'm guessing
Dragon Age.
I'm guessing your character just dies immediately, and that's the end of the game.
Nope.
You drink the blood and you die.
No, there's another guy that does with you.
Oh, that's cool.
You're one of 3 recruits. One of them drinks the blood and dies. One of them is like, dude, I didn't sign up for this. I'm out, and then he gets killed.
Oh, that's messed up.
Because there's no turning back.
Yeah.
If you decide to join the Grey Wardens.
We're not asking.
Yeah. So the first time I ever played it, when I was at Ben's house, I played an elf, and elves in this world are like enslaved by humans and like
that's interesting.
Treated as lower class citizens.
That's different.
Yeah, and so it's funny. You either have Tolkien-esque elves, or you're like, our elves are different, and they're not.
Yeah,
one of the two.
It's one of the two.
Yeah, and so I remember in that first playthrough, I was a male elf, like living in these slums basically, and I get got married, and then the local lord like took her away.
Nice.
And so I stormed his house and killed everybody and took her back.
Nice.
And then, of course, I was going to be sentenced to death, but instead the Grey Wardens took me in. So on this playthrough,
Lovely.
I was a female elf mage. Now,
Okay.
all mages go to the mage circle because mages are dangerous, and so they all have to go.
Makes sense.
Basically, anybody who can use magic gets sent there so that they can be taught how to use it properly and not be a danger to others.
Nice.
And if they assume believe that you are a danger to others, they'll kill you.
Nice.
So, and you have the Templars, which are like holy knights, and they
No way.
they are like they stick around the circle of mages to just make sure they don't need to slaughter all of them.
Nice.
If the mages get out of hand, they will just kill them all. And so every mage has to go through this process called the harrowing. And during the harrowing, you go to the Fade, which is like a spirit dream world.
They have a lot of names for stuff.
Yep, they do. And in this world, you can fight demons. So you fight a demon, you beat it, and you come out, and you're allowed to be a full-blown
You're a mage now.
Yep. Now, there's a forbidden type of magic that no mage is allowed to use, and if you ever use it, you will be killed. And that is blood magic.
Oh.
And if you use blood magic, you are called a blood mage. And blood mages are like public enemy number one.
Yeah, evil outlaws. Yeah.
Yeah. And so the way I played my story,
Is all blood magic all the time?
no.
Oh, okay.
So
That's weird.
You have this friend who has like been with you in the circle and keeps asking you about the harrowing, but of course you are forbidden to tell anybody what happened during your harrowing. And he has a secret love with this priest girl in the circle, and they basically want to escape and run away. But of course, he's a mage; he's tied to that place. He can't just leave and go wherever he wants.
Right. You'll be killed.
So you can choose to just help him. You can choose to report what he's doing to the
Nice.
Leader. You can choose to just kill him. You have choices.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where the results are often the same.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
how you
you
get
have
there.
a lot of choices for how you get to that result. So that's
Gotcha.
kind of cool.
Yeah.
Because it is a BioWare title, so much like Mass Effect or Knights of the Old Republic
Right.
or
They
these
try to
other
have
games.
some-
There's choices in what you say and what actions you complete.
Is there like alignment and stuff too?
Not technically.
Oh, okay.
You can do things that are bad or good, and it doesn't really. All it does is affect the story. It doesn't change your personal. Although you have a team, a party, and they have they will either approve or disapprove of your actions. So doing certain things and saying certain things will affect your approval rating amongst your party members. And your party doesn't necessarily have to always be the same, because you come across enough characters and you can choose to
You can swap them out.
yeah, you can swap them out, and there are some that if you don't do certain story things, they just won't ever join your party. And you can also at any
Optional
time
party
just
members.
say, please leave, and they will.
Yeah. You are not part of our group anymore.
Yeah. So I decided to rat out the guy.
Nice.
Because
You were a narc.
That's
Heck
how
yeah.
I rolled.
That's awesome.
And the leader was actually like, I want you to go ahead and act like you're going to let him go free so that we can catch him. And so I said, okay. So we go through, we get to the end, they spring the trap, and
Gotcha.
he uses blood magic.
Nice.
Nobody knew he could.
Yeah. That's messed up.
And so then his love leaves him, and then he's sentenced to either die or whatever. And you can influence what they do to him to a degree.
Jeez.
And then the the Templars want to take you down too, even though you were acting under orders. But instead, you get the offer to join the Grey Wardens. And so, obviously, you either take that offer or you
Or die.
Yeah. I think you could like decide, no, I'll take my execution and then die and then it's over. I think that's possible.
Oh, really?
I'm not sure.
Nice.
I didn't try that.
Game over.
But yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if that's an option. I mean, it's not like there aren't ways to die. But so you join the Grey Wardens and you fight. There's a huge horde of Darkspawn amassing in the southern reaches. They believe it is part of a blight, which means an archdemon is leading a legion of Darkspawn to kill everybody. There's been 4 other blights in history. They believed
there's 4 blights on the 4 the beasts, remember? Like Wind Blight Ganon and Water Blight Ganon and different thing.
Yeah. The last one was like hundreds of years ago, and they believed it was the last one that there ever would be. But of course, no, that's wrong. So, and this is definitely a blight, but a lot of people aren't convinced. So you decide you and the armies of men are all going to go attack the Darkspawn and wipe it out right away.
Yeah, easy. No problem.
And so things seem to be going well. You're going to signal this other, this local lord and his retinue of troops to come in and help. And they see the signal and they say, retreat.
Nope. Yep.
Because he turns out
Yikes.
to actually be a bad person.
Wow.
He thought, he was like, he thinks of himself as like, he's the one who deserves to rule because the king's an idiot. And frankly, he's not totally wrong about that.
I mean, the king
was
is kind
a
of an
brave
idiot.
idiot who just thought, "Oh, I've got this in the bag. I'm going to be a hero. Everybody's going to love me." And then he dies.
Nice. That's cool.
Also, the leader of the Grey Wardens dies, and
Spoilers.
yeah. Spoilers,
for a
obviously, but
15-year-old game.
yeah. But so you make it out alive. And you and one of the other Grey Wardens, and
that's
he
good.
joins your party. His name's Alistair, and he turns out more spoilers. He's actually the king's bastard brother, and
Nice. So is he heir to the throne, sort of, or
he has some claim to the throne
Yeah.
if he chose to try and act.
they
on
will
it.
answer to the king of Gondor?
Yes, that's right. And so this witch of the wilds has rescued you from there, and
Now is this a cool witch or like a hag witch?
so the mother is kind of like a hag witch, but she's also like she definitely thinks the Darkspawn is a bad thing that will be bad for her in addition to humanity, and wants them stopped, and so helps you as
But
a
it's a
result.
little more gray. Yeah. Otherwise,
And her daughter joins your party. And so her daughter's name is Morrigan, and she
Morrigan, of course.
yes, and she
on the nose.
disapproved of just about everything I ever did or said.
Nice.
So if you choose the good guy response,
You were kind of noble.
she will not like
like,
you
ick.
and will disagree with everything you do. So
She's like, you should be more messed up. Yeah. You're way too noble and integral.
Yeah. And so there's this area. So in between areas, you can go spend the night at this campsite, and at that place you can unlock certain story elements with your party members, get to know
can
them
just chat,
better,
basically.
do personal quests and
Yeah.
stuff, gain more friendships, start relationships with some of them even. And
There's romantic options and stuff.
and I would go and talk to Morrigan, and your only options are ask her to leave or ask why she hasn't left. And if
She hates you.
yeah, and so if you say anything other than never mind, you lose approval with her.
Amazing.
And so you know what? At one point, I got annoyed with her, and I had another. So she's a mage, so having a mage on your party is useful. But once I got a second mage, I was like, just leave.
Yeah. Bye.
I don't like you. Bye. And she did. She just straight up left.
Okay.
Like, wow. Okay.
Yikes.
Yeah. you come across this. So there's this group of people called the Orleans who are basically French.
Nice. Oui, oui. Oh.
So obviously terrible people. No,
Yeah.
but so there's this girl who's a rogue who's from there who offers to join the party, and she's like extremely useful.
Nice.
So,
A terrible rogue, though, because whenever she's behind cover, you can always see the cigarette smoke. So it's like, man. We saw you again. Oh.
always taking naps.
Yeah, I was taking naps. Anyway. Croissant. Okay, we're
We
done.
have an interesting idea of what the French people are like.
No, I have a very firm idea. I know exactly what the French are like.
They don't actually eat; they just subsist on coffee and their sense of superiority.
Yeah, there you go.
All right,
So,
moving on from the
besides
French.
the French.
So I played through the story. I tried to do as many side quests as I could. You get these old like documents that basically each of the people groups signed saying we will join the Grey Wardens to fight the Darkspawn if they ever come back. And so you want to go to the leader of each of these people groups and get them to fulfill their oath. You know, Gondor calls on you
Yeah,
to fulfill
Gondor calls on you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. Okay.
because you know all fantasy stories stem from
Yeah, they're all
Lord
Lord
of the Rings. So there are the elves, but so there's the elves that are being captive and pushed under by humans, but there's also the Dalish elves who are like the original elves. They like have kept the old ways. They've kept the and they stay away from humans. So they're one of the groups. The others are the dwarves, and they live in
Nice.
the
Mountains of Dale.
the Frostback Mountains.
Oh, gotcha.
In the city of Orzammar.
They happen to be very misty, though.
Yeah. Definitely not Orgrimmar from World of Warcraft.
Oh, nice.
Definitely not.
Nice. Heck yeah.
Orzammar. And yeah, it's like built into the mountain, and there's caverns and stuff down there that they don't go in because they're full of darkspawn now.
Yeah.
But
Or a Balrog.
yeah.
One
or,
of the two.
Or Smaug just
Yeah,
chilling
there
down
you
there.
go. Yep.
And then last is the Mage Circle. And then, of course, there's the human capital city of Denerim.
The humans,
which is
yeah.
currently being ruled over by the jerk who left with his
Ran away.
group
Yeah.
and let the king's army die to the Darkspawn.
Yeah. He was cool.
There's also this guy who, the Arl of, he's Arl Eamon, the Arl of Redcliffe, who's lives in this town called Redcliffe, far away
Go
from
figure.
from Denerim. You first one of the first things you want, main story quests you want to do is recruit him because he's high ranking enough that he can actually challenge.
Has some influence.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's like a local lord basically.
Nice.
And but so each of these areas has a problem keeping you from just handing them the piece of paper and saying fulfill your oath.
Right. It's never that easy.
The Arl is sick, and it turns out there's a lot more to it than that, but he's sick. The
drank
Dalish
the blood.
elves the Dalish elves are turning into werewolves.
Nice.
So that's a problem that you need to help fix.
I hate it when that happens.
In Orzammar, the king has died, and there is a power struggle between two would-be kings. And then in the mage circle, some blood mages have summoned some demons who have infested the circle.
Sweet.
So you need to solve each of these problems
You need
in
to
order to
save
get
the
these
world
people to join
In
your
every
side.
way before
Yeah.
you can save the world.
So I played the game on on the lowest difficulty, and I'm glad I did because it would have been very difficult.
Yeah. Nice.
I was a mage because I have learned over the years because my natural bent was always to be the sword wielding warrior because
Yeah.
I thought that
Because
was cool.
that's cool or
and
whatever.
stuff.
Yeah.
They seem to always be the worst class.
Often I feel like they are. Yeah.
In most fantasy RPGs.
They try to be like all around, and because of that, they are good at nothing.
And it seems like the magic characters are always the best, and so I just was like, okay,
I feel like they're either overpowered or underpowered.
Yeah.
One of the two. So
and so I was like, I'm gonna skip all the garbage and just go be a mage, cast magic,
nice.
and win. I was a little surprised. So I might if I played this again, I probably would actually be a warrior or something.
Oh, really?
The pool of spells is not great, I personally think.
Is it just kind of boring, or
It's kind of boring. The number of attacks that are just you fling magic at an enemy, at a single enemy, there are only like 4 spells that do that. Every other one is different in some way. And I kept waiting for like a big jump in attack power, and it just never really came.
oh yeah,
And so, like, that wasn't generally a problem with trash mobs, even in like late game, but against any bosses, it just made the fights take a really long time because I never got any huge jumps in damage output.
gotcha. So there was no explosion fireballs and
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah, you never get so strong that you're just gonna go around one shot
Like
things.
nothing. Yeah. So it's not
really.
like
Yeah.
not like your forest character in PSO.
Right. But I think part of it is there's no order you have to do everything in, really. So you can fight enemies in any part of the game at any time, basically. So I guess
One of those. You know?
and so I don't know if they're leveling with you or if they're just all the same level. But I think that's part of why you don't actually get all that much stronger even when you level up a lot. Your actual damage output really doesn't go up that much. I started the game
Interesting,
doing
okay.
maybe between 10 and 25 damage per attack, and I ended the game doing at most 50.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
So
That is not a big jump.
I'm used to a much bigger jump by the time you're a higher
I wonder if that's
level.
normal for that game.
Yeah, I don't know.
I have no idea. So
My best damage dealer was my rogue, so I just poured everything into
Yeah.
her. Like after a certain point, I stopped putting points into magic damage because it seemed like I had reached a point of diminishing returns, and I wasn't really getting any more powerful. So I spread out my stats a little more.
what if you were like 2 things away from getting the jump
Who knows?
and it just didn't tell you?
Yeah. So I chose to go to the elves first because my character was an elf, and that seemed to work for me story-wise.
Sure. Yeah.
So I went to them first, helped them break the curse, the werewolf curse. It turned out it was the leader of the elves who was the problem, who was the reason behind the curse in the first place.
Oh, okay.
Because his family was killed by humans centuries ago, and he cursed that forest so that all the humans turned into werewolves. Only the curse was still around hundreds of years later, and it was now affecting elves
Because
too.
they were there so long.
Yeah, and so
Nice.
you had to get him to finally break the curse. So
The werewolf's curse.
if your cunning stat is high enough, you can persuade people. And it's so funny because it's kind of like do this, no, persuade, do this, okay.
Yeah.
Well, like the arguments you give aren't necessarily any more convincing. It's just that you have the persuasion decision, and so that pretty much always worked.
Said do this.
Yeah.
Fine. They just needed a little convincing.
Yeah. So the problem with the Arl is he was sick, but the reason he was sick is because he was poisoned. And the person he was poisoned by is the mage that you helped in the beginning.
Nice.
And it turned out the Arl's son was able to learn magic, but they didn't want to send him to the circle because his
Secret
mom
magic
didn't
user.
want to not be able to see him anymore. So she looked for a mage outside the circle to teach him. It turned out it was the guy who poisoned her husband.
Bad guy.
And he taught the little kid just enough to summon a demon, and the demon cursed all the people in the castle and turned them into zombies. And
So be careful of who teaches your kids.
yeah,
Okay, Liz.
so there's a few ways that you can tackle this. One of them is to just straight up kill the kid, and then because
If you kill the king, he won't be poisoned anymore.
well, I mean, I guess you could let him die, but I don't think you could win. I don't think you could convince Logain.
Okay.
Anyway, you can kill his kid, who's like possessed by the demon. Or what I chose to do is you can use blood magic, or have
Heck yeah.
the outcast mage use blood magic on the mother, and she'll sacrifice herself so that you can enter the Fade and kill the demon, and then her son will be fine.
Whoa.
So it's like, okay, so when
kill the kid,
when
yeah.
the Arl finally wakes up, it's like, okay, so we had to sacrifice your wife to save your son because he summoned a demon who who took him over because this guy taught him how to use magic.
Sorry. Sucks for you, I guess.
Yeah. And then in the dwarf kingdom, there's the king's son, the prince, and then one of the lords are fighting for who will be king. And until there is a king on the throne, no one's going to help you fight the Darkspawn.
It's like a Game of Thrones.
Yeah. Now, this lord says that the king, some of the king's last words were that I want you to be king and not my son. But no, he has no proof of that.
Yeah, who's gonna believe him?
Yeah. Other than and there's some people accuse him of killing the king. Some people accuse the prince of killing the king to become the king.
Of course.
And so you basically have to decide who you're going to side with, and whoever you put your faith in
Who cares
is
what
going to
you
become
say?
the king.
Why are
Well,
you so special?
You have to do a bunch of side quests
You're like,
to prove that you're that special.
I get to decide who
Yeah.
the king is
So what I
because I'm the protagonist.
yeah. But basically, you so in these dwarves culture, the most highly respected people are the paragons, and they are just like people that have been especially gifted in like crafts and stuff. They have a caste
The
system.
dwarven ways, yeah.
Yeah, they have a
Mining
caste
and
system where if you're not a
smithing
part of a
and stuff.
particular caste, then you are just trash. And
Trash
so
dwarf.
like the Smith caste is pretty high up there, and that
yeah,
there's
they
this
respect
paragon
that,
who
yeah, so.
created golems
Ooh, nice.
who helped fight off the Darkspawn.
Are they
But
stone or metal?
stone. Well, metal, stone and metal.
Might be both. Yeah.
But it turned out you needed a human sacrifice to create a golem, and this was kept under wraps.
Nice.
At first, they were using volunteers, but there weren't enough people, so they
Not
needed to
enough
just
volunteers.
start. But yeah, so you learn all this.
You have forcibly volunteered.
Once you make your way through all the deep roads and fight armies of Darkspawn and fight this dwarf. So you fight this disgusting looking creature called the Brood Mother.
Oof.
And it was a dwarf at one point in its life before it was fed dwarf corpses over many years
Okay.
and became this hideous monster.
That's some Dark Souls stuff right
Uh-huh.
there.
And so you kill it, and then you find the Paragon, this lady who was looking for the anvil of the guy who created the golems so that she could create new golems and fight off the Darkspawn. And it turns out that guy was still alive for all
Nice.
these centuries.
He's just chilling somewhere.
He became a golem himself. And
okay.
so you can choose to side with the lady and fire up the anvil again, start making golems again, or you
mean-
can side with the original golem and realize how bad a thing it is and destroy the anvil and let his soul finally be at rest. If you choose to do that, you will fight the dwarf lady.
She mad.
Yeah. And so then you can have him say, I put my vote in for this particular candidate. And, and then when you go and meet before the council, you can just say, I bet with the guy, the smith,
guy.
the paragon, who was hundreds of years old and became a golem and everything. And he said, this person should be king. And
they said,
they will take that.
Okay. I guess the golem said so.
And so I was trying to figure out, like, which candidate do I personally like more?
Yeah.
And neither one of them really give me much reason to like them.
I don't like either
You
of
guys
you.
are both kind of terrible people.
You're like, maybe I should be king.
Yeah. Because they were both, like, doing, like, dirty deals behind each other's backs to try and sway the council.
Yep.
I ultimately chose the prince.
Okay.
And whoever you choose, followers of the other will attack you in the street randomly.
Nice. Great.
Yeah. But yeah.
Sounds like a really peaceful kingdom.
Yeah. So I helped get the prince into power so that he would help me against the Darkspawn.
Yeah. Well, that's good. I guess at least the new king likes you.
Yeah.
Because you helped him get in office.
And then I went to the mage circle, and a bunch of blood mages had summoned a bunch of demons who had taken over the circle. So I had to kill all the demons and the blood mages.
No, you are the demon.
Yeah. And then the Templars agreed to join the fight.
Nice.
And then, so I saved the Arl's son, the Arl Redcliffe's son, but he was actually still sick. And it turned out we needed to get the ashes of Andraste to save him, which is like a deity who used to exist, who apparently was a real person because the ashes actually existed, but they were like so legendary. A lot of people didn't believe they even existed.
Whoa.
And so you have to go up this mountain where
Sounds like a key item.
where all these cultists live, and you have to kill most of the cultists, and then make your way to the guardian of the ashes and pass his test, and then
As usual, it's go into a place, kill everyone there,
yes,
grab a thing.
then you get the ashes, you bring them to the Arl, they do work, they fix him, and then you go to Denerim, and you have to build a case against the leader there so that you can get him deposed and
Nice.
yeah.
I call a vote of no confidence in Chancellor
Yeah.
Valorum.
And so I did a bunch of side quests in the town, gathering support, and eventually won my case. And I had the opportunity to either kill him or induct him into the Grey Wardens. And I chose to induct him into the Grey Wardens. Now, occasionally in these BioWare games, you say something that you cannot unsay.
Yeah.
And it affects what other characters do. And so Alistair, who had been with me since the beginning, when he saw that I was going to spare this guy's life, said,
like,
nope. I ain't going to be part of this, and left.
Wow. Dang.
And I could not get him back. And
Yikes.
I could have either reverted save, but I was like, no, I'm going to see this.
I have
how
to
this
live with
goes
it. I have to
through.
live
Yeah.
with my decisions. Dang.
So he joins your party in
He joins your party. Wow.
in place of Alistair.
Dang.
Yep.
I wonder if you killed him, I wonder if a different party member would leave you.
No, but so this guy's daughter was the queen. She was married to the king who died.
Uh-huh.
You one of the options you have is to propose that Alistair marry her.
Ah, interesting.
If Alistair kills the Lord, she will never marry him because she won't marry her father's killer.
Right.
But if you kill the guy, then they can still be
Then
married.
maybe, yeah. Interesting.
But of course, he left, so she didn't marry him ultimately. And then the Darkspawn arrive at Denerim, and you must fight them, and then fight the
Dun dun dun.
the archdemon, the dragon.
The dragons.
During this fight, you have armies at your disposal that you can bring to help you, but you have a finite number of them, so you have to use them wisely. So I used them as little as possible before the boss fight so that I had as many of them left over as I could. The first time I attempted the fight, I didn't actually use any of them, and that was a mistake because I died really quick. So you need cannon fodder to soak up damage so that you can kill the dragon. Because
you need meat shields.
Yeah, because he has a big health bar.
Yeah. Big dragon.
Yeah. So that was a long and tedious fight that took 3 tries, but I did beat it. Also, some of the fights leading up to that were really hard, and then I was like, oh, right, I have an army at my disposal. And so I was just calling the army, and then they took care of everything. I'm like, this is nice.
That's neat.
Yep. Yeah, I got really close with the French girl. Like, my character and her got really close.
Draw me like one of your French girls.
Yes. You occasionally get items called gifts, and if you give them to a party member, their approval just goes up.
Oh, nice.
For a little while, I was using some to try and get Morgan to not hate me.
Yeah.
But before I gave up. It'd be interesting to do a playthrough and just like and follow a guide on maximizing hers and just see how much of a jerk you have to be to get her to agree with you.
How awful is she in comparison?
There's one opportunity you have to get a party member that if you don't take this opportunity, you won't get to again. Mm-hmm. But
optional party members are always
he's in a cage, and he's in a you're in this village that is almost definitely going to be run over by the Darkspawn. They're coming, and they're eventually going to hit this village.
Oh Lord, he coming.
Yeah. And this guy in a cage is probably going to just get killed by them. And that seems like a waste. So you find out why he was in the cage. Well, it turns out he murdered a whole family. And I was like, that's good enough reason to leave you here.
Yeah.
Like, I kind of don't care why you did. Bye.
See ya.
I'm sure you had your reasons, but I don't care what they are.
And of course, he's the best party member you could ever have, probably.
Maybe. I don't know. I didn't really care, but
give a
rip. Give a care.
It's like how you find Vincent just in some coffin somewhere.
Yeah, right? Except with Vincent, you can at least go back and get him if you forgot him. Because like I did the first time I played FF7.
You're like, well, all right, well, I don't know what you're all about. See you later.
Well, I just didn't know that coffin was even there when I first played it.
Yeah, I actually really like the concept of optional party members in RPGs.
I think technically you could play Dragon Age without any party, just have them all leave.
Or like a single run.
Yeah.
I'm sure people have done that.
Which would be really hard.
Sounds probably really difficult, yeah.
But yeah.
So what Dragon Age is this? Which game is this?
Origins.
And that is a game.
Yes.
Okay.
I think that's the first
Dragon Age. Is it the first Dragon Age? Yeah. Oh. Because I know about Inquisition. Mm-hmm. Which one is that? Do you know?
That's either the second or third, I think.
Gotcha. So are you planning on playing another one or moving on right now?
Maybe. I don't know. I enjoyed this one fairly. As far as fantasy RPGs go, it did pretty well for me. I feel like the combat it got really kind of boring and repetitive after a while.
Unfortunately, a lot of RPGs can be like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, one thing that was interesting about this that is not really something I come across very often. There's a finite number of enemies in the game.
Oh, really?
They do not respawn.
That's wild.
So when you clear an area out, it's cleared out.
It is now cleared, yeah. Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah. Because when I was going through the deep roads in the Orc place, in the caverns below Orzammar, I was like, oh man, I'm gonna hate it if I ever have to come
back
here.
here. Yeah.
And then I came back. I'm like, oh, everything's still
It's
dead.
still empty because I killed everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what's funny is
That's interesting.
You know how most of the time, if you kill a thing, its corpse will eventually fade away.
Yeah,
Some
yeah.
of these corpses were persistent, just stuck around even if you looted them and everything. So that was interesting.
It's kind of interesting,
Like
actually.
this dead body has been here for at least several in-game days, I'm sure.
But I mean, that adds to the like feel of it.
Yeah.
Like, you see the dead things you've killed constantly. Like, that's
It is funny
that's an
though
interesting
that
idea.
video
actually.
games like train you to think of that as weird as
Yeah.
opposed to being normal.
Yeah, for real. Yeah.
But the weird thing was that some of them do fade away and some of them don't.
Yeah.
So that's
That's a cool thing a game should do sometime. Leave every body you've ever killed, and, like they never disappear. I'm sure there's a game like that already, but
I'm sure it's awkward in some situations, especially when like you're in the middle of a tavern and you start
Yeah.
a fight and you kill
well, it's
some
like
guys.
you live with the crimes you've committed.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
This was another one of those games where my inventory was just always full.
Oh, really?
All the time. Yeah, so
What kind of inventory is there?
everything is divided into like different pockets, but the total number, but the inventory, there's a finite for the total. So each bag can be, so like I think you start with 70 slots, and that could be 70 weapons or 70 pieces of armor, but it can't be both 70 armor and
Right.
70 weapons. That's 70 total.
So there's a running total between like for all the bags. Yeah.
Yeah. And so you can buy bags from certain merchants to
Bag
expand
upgrades.
it.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I didn't know this at first, and I missed the opportunity, a couple of opportunities to buy bags that
Yeah.
just
That sucks.
that go away forever.
Oh, jeez.
Because
Dang.
once the dark spawn hits an area, it's gone. It's just all dark spawn.
Wow.
And they're slowly creeping their way up northward as the story goes on. You can even watch on the map it just like the blight
Being blotted out.
moving. So yeah.
Dang, that's messed up.
So there's two areas that become. I think there's really only two like actual towns that become inaccessible after a while because of darkspawn.
They're just totally gone. Yeah. Dang.
But yeah, so I had to frequently dump excess stuff.
Stuff. Yeah. Dang.
And it's one of those things where I was like, I wasn't sure what was going to be useful later, so I didn't want to get rid of some stuff. You get like enchanting materials, but there seem to be very, very few weapons and armor that actually can be enchanted. I only ever picked up 2 weapons that could be enchanted in the whole game. So, or at least there could have been other weapons that just like weren't good, and so I didn't keep them. But there were only 2 good ones that could be enchanted. So
Nice.
there wasn't really any need for me to keep a bunch of enchanting stuff because of how few things could be enchanted. But I didn't know that.
And then is there like food and stuff for like?
There's like crafting materials because you
okay.
can learn things like herbalism and trap making, which I didn't put skills into because I found things that I thought were more important to put skills into.
Sure.
Although that did keep me, there's 1 or 2 quests that I couldn't do because I didn't have a character with enough skill in that area,
Yeah.
like herbalism or whatever. Yeah. So yeah, every time you level up, you get
I'm hiding.
3 stat points to apply to different stats. You get every few levels or so, you get a skill point, and then if you're a mage, you get a single spell slot or point
Nice.
to put into a new spell every time you level up. At one point, I thought I reached max level,
Oh, okay.
but it turned out I definitely didn't. But because my experience bar was 0, and even after a few fights, and I thought, oh, maybe I've hit max level, which I was
like,
concerned with because I was only like level 12.
You're like, I'm not very
and
strong.
that felt very low, but it turned out that was not max level.
Weird.
If max level is like above 50, then I'd be shocked if anybody ever hit max level during a single playthrough.
Yeah, without
Because I was
purposefully
I was like
leveling up a
level
lot.
17 or something when I beat the game.
Jeez, that's
Yeah.
really low. Mm-hmm. Wow. So a level up was kind of a big deal then.
Yeah. But also I killed like over 80% of all enemies in the whole game. So I don't think you can get much higher than that.
Interesting. Why would there even be more levels then? What's the point, I wonder?
Yeah, I don't know. When you fight the Darkspawn army at the near the end of the game, the regular trash mobs will die in one hit, almost no matter how little damage you do. It seems.
That's kind of
I
cool.
think if you do at least like 40 damage per hit, they just die in one hit. But then there's always like higher level ones that show up in the middle because it's this horde of them.
I mean, it's an army, yeah.
And so like most of them die in one hit, and then the few that don't die,
It's like
take
a
a lot.
like a Dynasty Warriors game where
Yeah.
there's just like armies of everything. Yeah.
Yeah. But
That's
that's when area of effect attacks finally became really useful.
Yeah.
I didn't use them for a lot of the game because they don't do a lot of damage, and you need.
And you're only fighting 2 or 3 things or
Yeah,
whatever.
and it takes a while to cast too, and if you get interrupted during it, then you can't use it. But yeah, very
Concentration.
useful at the near the end of the game. And yeah, also just like so, the only other game I came across that, well, I guess that's not true. It has a system where you can say. You can give your allies, your teammates, different things to do while they're auto controlled. Different strategies.
Oh,
like,
yeah. Gotcha.
If your health falls under a certain percentage, use a health potion or something. The only other game
Yep,
I had come
gotcha.
across with that in particular was FF12.
Okay. Yeah.
But yeah, I didn't even look at that until the final boss because I was playing on easy mode. If I had been playing on a higher difficulty, I'm sure I would have had to do that.
It would have mattered more. Yeah.
But in the
funny.
last battle, I realized I was not going to get through this fight without actually playing correctly.
That's funny.
So the thing that made the biggest difference, besides actually using my armies, was just making my teammates heal themselves at below a certain percentage because they
just
would
die
die so
immediately.
quickly sometimes,
Yeah.
and I couldn't always heal them quickly enough. So
I just always think of Donald and Goofy
yeah,
and them just dying constantly.
yeah. Although I feel like, well, this is because I play on lower difficulty levels, but I feel like it's not that big a deal when they die, when Donald and Goofy die, especially because they seem to come back up after a while, right?
Yeah, they do just come back
automatically?
up.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well,
eventually.
it does not happen in this game.
Yeah. Well, there's a little bit of programming
Mm-hmm.
in Kingdom Hearts. I know you can like have them focus on
Yeah,
Sora more or the enemies more, stuff like that.
yeah. And so I found that they were going and getting themselves killed
Yeah.
a lot. So I changed their style to stay close to me and basically play defensively instead of aggressively. And then
fight
and then
what's
also
close
making
by or
them
whatever, yeah.
heal themselves anytime they drop below a certain percentage.
Yeah.
Although then they ate through healing items really fast all
Yeah,
of a
I
sudden.
bet. Yep, that's a problem too.
Yeah. And then I also had to make sure all the mages were restoring their mana when it got below a certain percentage.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh boy.
I did get most of the side quests done. There were a couple that I just missed out on because I didn't know
Do them in time.
about yeah. And like I missed a lot of quests in the very first area. I didn't realize that how many there were there.
Yeah.
And
and that you couldn't come back.
yeah.
Gotcha. So it was one of those you have to really explore immediately, basically. Yeah.
It's a game that you benefit from if you read a guide while you're playing it.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
Like most RPGs.
Most RPGs are like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I get intense FOMO in RPGs a lot.
Uh-huh.
Like, because I hate missing. Yeah. I just hate missing stuff.
Yeah.
Missing a side quest or like, oh, there was this one item there that you missed that you can't go back to.
Yeah.
And it's super important.
Uh-huh.
It's like, oh, how the heck was I supposed to know that, man?
Yeah.
Come on.
Dude, the first time I played
I
Final
hate that.
Fantasy VII, I was like, I have no idea how anybody could even play this game without a guide, let alone.
Yeah, especially when that world map opens up, like mostly to you.
Yeah.
And like even like when you're going to like the casino and stuff, that sort of midpoint
Yeah,
of the
dude,
game.
that's one of those games
I'm
I
like,
would have been so
what the
lost.
heck is going on? Yeah.
It's like when I first played Zelda Oracle of Seasons. I had no idea
yeah.
where on earth I was going.
Yeah, some 2D Zeldas are actually like that.
Yeah.
I found I got lost a lot trying to play Link to the Past too.
Yeah.
Same for the same reasons.
And
It's almost too open ended where you're like,
yeah.
where am I supposed to go though?
Yeah, pretty much most Final Fantasy games before like 10, knowing where to go
Yeah, is a problem.
difficult without a guide. I feel like you kind of need a guide for any Final Fantasy games before 10. And even after
at
10
least to
they're
have a good
useful,
time.
but you don't necessarily need it to
Maybe
know
not
where to go.
Need, but
Yeah.
like you're gonna have a better time if you have a guide.
Like
probably.
obviously some people beat these games without guides, but I certainly couldn't. Not
Well, certainly somebody
not-
had to.
Yeah, not in a time frame in which I think is reasonable.
Yeah, that's the thing is they're just time sinks. Like
Yeah.
if you took the time and went everywhere you could possibly go, you'd figure it out eventually.
Yeah.
But I mean, then you're spending 10 hours
Yeah.
on doing nothing basically.
Yeah, because I already
And I kind of hate that.
I already spent 100 hours on my first FF7 playthrough just, but that part of that was trying to get the gold chocobo.
Yes. Yeah. That is very time consuming.
Mm-hmm.
I did do that once. That was fun.
Yeah. I also wanted to try and get to max level and then eventually stopped bothering because I didn't have the patience. But
Yeah, me too. I actually beat the game at like level 95.
yeah,
I was like almost max level, but not quite. Yeah.
as soon
Yep.
as I reached the point where I was doing 9999 damage with each attack,
Yeah.
I was like, that's good enough.
I'm good. Yeah. Nice. Nice. Yeah, I don't even think I've gotten to max level on any of the Kingdom Hearts games. I should probably do that sometime.
Yeah.
Should try that.
There's really not that many games RPGs I've played where I hit max level.
Yeah. Oh, I got to do that in Paper Mario sometime too.
Yeah.
I've never done that. If you grind Amazy Daisies, you can do it pretty
Yeah.
quickly. But yeah. What is max level? It's like 30 or something.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
I thought it was 50. No, it's not. It can't be 50. That's too high.
Yeah, no, I think it's like
I got pretty close to max.
I think it's slower.
once.
Yeah, I think it is like around 30 or something.
Because I remember I got very close once.
Yeah. That's fun. I have, as you can see, I have not gotten the shiny yet. I don't know if you can hear the ASMR. Hang on, wait. You can hear me mashing A.
Yeah.
I'm shiny hunting. This is my longest shiny hunt ever. This is the longest it's taken for me to get a shiny, both in attempts and I think in hours spent doing it. Thankfully, it's one of those where I can just mash A the whole time, and it's pretty quick. Like I've gone through one try since I started talking about this.
Can you remind us all what it is you are shiny hunting?
I don't think I've ever told you what I'm shiny hunting, Brian. I am shiny hunting Kyurem,
Oh.
the legendary Pokemon in Pokemon White 2, which I recently beat. And it's one of those that's like a static encounter, you know, it's just sitting there.
Yeah.
And so I am in the giant chasm standing in front of Kyurem. And I had the misfortune of seeing the sprite of shiny Kyurem and seeing how cool it was. And I went, I mean, maybe I'd try shiny hunting it, you know? Let's try it. This is Gen 5, so that means it's a 1 in 8,196 chance. Which
8192.
yeah, 92, that's right.
4096 times 2. Yep.
Yeah, so they call this full odds.
Yeah.
It is the rarest a shiny can possibly be. Be really cool if I just got it right then while talking about it. I did not. And so my last full odds shiny that I got was Ho-Oh, in Heart Gold, and that only took 2,100 ish attempts. I got very lucky there. That was super cool. This has been, I'm at about 6,500
Wow.
right now attempts. I've been doing this for a few weeks now, just like watching stuff or whatever. I'm doing this like 4 hours a day
Yeah.
of mashing. Thankfully, it's passive enough
Yeah.
that I can do other stuff while I'm doing it. But yeah, so I'm not at 1-to-1 odds yet,
Yeah.
but I am past the midway point. And so, yep, the grind never stops. I will get it eventually. Anyway, Kyurem's a really cool like purple when it's shiny. Looks really cool. So it's gonna be worth it.
So how was White 2 for you? Couldn't remember. I don't remember you talking about
Yeah, we didn't talk
finishing it.
too much about it. I just recently finished it.
Yeah.
So I finished this and I finished Heart Gold also because I needed to because as I've mentioned, I'm doing the national decks for X and Y. So all the way up to Gen 6, trying to catch every Pokemon.
Right.
So I went through and I made a list of all the Pokemon I needed to catch that weren't in Gen 6. So weren't in X and Y, weren't in ORAS, right? Omega Ruby, Alpha Sapphire. And between White 2, Platinum, and Heart Gold, I could get everything
Yeah.
that I couldn't get in those games. So it was perfect. So I already had the games. I have 2 3DSs. So, I can do it all.
Yeah.
And so Platinum, it was pretty easy. There was just a couple like, gosh, I don't even know which ones come to mind. There was a few, just like a Shinx and, random stuff like that. I actually got, I had to beat the game because I needed to go to the Trophy Garden, which is a thing in Sinnoh that after you get the national decks, specifically, not even Hall of Fame, but national decks, which means you've seen everything in the Sinnoh Pokedex,
Yeah.
which I was a little scared about. I was like, wait, I have to see everything in the Sinnoh Dex? And it turns out all I was missing was Tentacool.
Oh.
I had the entire deck seen except for Tentacool, which I thought was really funny.
Yeah.
So that was pretty easy, thankfully.
No.
So anyway, then the Trophy Garden gets special Pokemon. And so through that, I was able to get a Ditto, first of all, because I needed to breed a Porygon so that I could get a Porygon 2 and a Porygon Z for, a bunch of reasons. But also because I needed a Meowth. And Meowth is one of the hardest Pokemon to get in between Gens 4 and 6. It's nearly impossible to get a Meowth or Persian.
Interesting.
The only other way to get it, I think, is this weird trade quest in White 2 that takes hours and hours to this really weird, like, sort of side quest where you're like finding items for people and like it was so ridiculous. I'm like, I am not doing that just to get a Meowth, basically. Or in like Alpha Sapphire, there are these Mirage Islands in the post game, and they only show up from online passersby.
Oh yeah.
So it was like you have to. So it's like a whole thing too, and you have to get lucky because there's tons of different Mirage Islands, and like Mirage Mountain and Mirage Forest, and they all can have different Pokemon, and sometimes one of them can have a Persian. So like Meowth is hard to get for Gen 6 especially.
That's funny.
So Platinum Trophy Garden was by far the best way to get it. So I got that, thank God. One of the hardest Pokemon is off the list. And then in Heart Gold, I had to beat all the Kanto stuff because I wanted the birds.
Yeah.
Because the legendary birds, it's weird. In ORAS, you can get almost every legendary in existence. Like they're pretty easy to get post game.
Yeah.
Except for the birds. The birds just aren't there. And you can get them in X and Y, but only one per playthrough, depending on what starter you pick. So I would have been able to get Zapdos, and that's it. I would have had to play through the entire game all the way through the Hall of Fame to get a different one of the birds.
Wow.
So, yeah, catching them in Heart Gold and trading them all the way up is definitely the easy way to go.
Yeah.
Anyway, I've learned a lot about where Pokemon are and stuff through this whole thing. But long story short, I've gotten everything I need that isn't in Gen 6. I've caught every legendary, every whatever, except for Kyurem because
Because you want it
I
shiny.
want it shiny. Although I could actually get this in Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire, so I can continue this and still move on if I'd like to. So so yeah, it was actually pretty fun going through and doing that. I beat the Kanto portion of Heart Gold while shiny hunting this at the same time because Kanto was so easy.
Yeah.
And you know why? I used my level 100 event Arceus that I got from Platinum.
Wow.
So it made it pretty easy. I was like, forget this. I don't want to try. I just want to judgment everyone. Yeah. I forgot what Pokemon survived. There was one Pokemon that survived a judgment. I think it was a Machamp. I'm pretty sure. Because I think I was using either Dark or Fighting plate on the Arceus, and so he was resistant to it.
No.
And like he was just bulky enough that he like tanked a judgment, which was pretty amazing because I was like he was only level like 55 and I was a level 100 Arceus,
Wow.
you know? So that was impressive. I think it was Gary's or Blue's Machamp. But anyway, yeah, that was fun. So yeah, that's where I'm at.
Yeah. So like my opinion of the DS era Pokemon games, so that's Diamond Pearl Platinum, Heart Gold Soul Silver, Black and White, Black 2 White 2. My opinion of those games as a whole is not very high.
Yeah.
That's my least favorite era of Pokemon games. What about you?
I would not say it's my least favorite era. No. I like a lot of there's some good vibes. I don't know what better way to say it. Especially in Platinum compared to I did definitely
played
enjoy
Platinum and I haven't. So.
I definitely enjoyed Platinum more than Diamond and Pearl. Diamond and Pearl feel a little more soulless and a little more broken, if that makes sense. Like they feel like older games, definitely like unrefined a little bit. Platinum felt a little more polished, and I don't even know how to describe why it feels that way. I also liked that like just all the differences in it. There were some story differences. There's some I don't know, like you're wearing your winter outfit the whole time.
Yeah.
As opposed to the classic outfits. I don't know. It's just little stuff that I thought was a little more interesting.
And of course, just like me, you've played Black and White and Black 2 White 2.
Yeah. And
I definitely liked those better than Gen 4.
yes,
but
definitely better. It still has some of the frustrations of old Pokemon to me.
Yeah.
Like it's like, oh, there's this really cool thing we added, but it's only post game, or just like, or it's, you have to go through all these hoops to get it. No. So there's always stuff like that, but the quality of life stuff. Sorry, just real quick. Yeah. You use up a repel, it asks if you want to use another one.
Yes.
And like you can use TMs over and over again. Stuff like that is awesome. So there is that.
I think part of the thing is I generally judge Pokemon games not on their post game.
Yeah,
I judge
exactly. Me
them
too. Actually,
from beginning to end of the Elite Four generally.
Yeah,
that's how I judge most all the Pokemon
I find
games.
A lot of people's praise for Pokemon games is all based on the post game.
Yeah,
which is very strange. It's like Emerald's great, the post game's so good. It's like, so who cares about the post game?
Yeah,
like I don't know. Yeah, I've always thought that was weird.
Yeah, and I think that a lot of that comes back to just Red and Blue not having much of any post game.
I guess that's true.
And Gold and Silver, half the game is post game if you think of it that way. But
I think I personally just like 3D models better too.
Yeah,
I just like the look and feel of a 3D.
So
Pokemon
I don't
game.
like the look and feel of the DS era at all.
Yeah, I've come around to it a little bit.
Yeah.
I like the more detailed sprites and how they're more colorful and stuff.
I prefer like I would jump from Emerald to X and Y.
Yeah,
and
I get
like
that.
just skip everything in between personally.
Yeah, I find the motion in some of the sprites in like White 2 to be a bit awkward.
Yeah.
And just not look great to me. But yeah.
Anyway,
It was it was difficult. I will say that. It was fairly difficult, which I
Yeah.
think was kind of cool.
Which one?
White 2.
Yeah.
Like I felt Getsis was like, I was like, oh, this guy's pretty tough. This is cool. I don't
Oh,
know.
that's interesting. I didn't think he was hard at all.
Yeah. Well, I don't know what Pokemon you were using or what levels they were, but I was finding myself grinding some, like definitely. I mean, I had a team of 6 the
I
whole
do
game,
think
but
that. So that is one thing I noticed, and I think I already mentioned this, but in White 2 is that the regular game, the normal trainers you fight were stronger than
yes,
usual.
definitely.
But then the Elite
But
Four
not the
was
gym
weaker
leaders.
than usual. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, the Elite Four were nothing, and I mean, yeah, even Iris, I think I pretty much one shot all of her stuff.
Yeah.
But she was cool. I thought she was a cool champion. Iris
She
and
was
stuff.
totally unmemorable for me.
Oh, okay. Well,
Yeah.
sorry you hate everything. Just,
Yeah. Well.
yeah. Well. Anyway, I guess I'm not getting the shiny during this recording.
Yeah.
Someday I'm gonna get a shiny while we're recording. And it's gonna be very cool.
Yeah.
So I'll update on Twitter when I finally get this,
Yeah.
and I'll post how many attempts it took. It's a
Speaking of
lot.
updates, our YouTube channel is catching up now.
Yeah, it's nearly up to
I've
date.
uploaded every episode that has been recorded, and they are publishing as the days go on.
Yeah, slowly. So if you're dying to get more Brothers Game, go rewatch, go re-listen to some episodes on YouTube.
Of course, by the time this comes out on YouTube, obviously, YouTube will have not only caught up, but
It'll be completely caught up.
several months from now. So
Yes. But if you're listening to this on Spotify or some other platform, first of all, you should download.
Yes.
So we see what you're doing. And yeah, go check out the YouTube, go subscribe, go listen to some, and please comment. We would love to hear your thoughts on the episodes. If you love Sinnoh and think we're stupid, you can tell us so.
Yep.
I mean, look, Sinnoh did add Rotom, and it added Leafeon, so Sinnoh can't be all bad, right? That's what I say. That's what I say.
All right. You can check out our subreddit, r/Brothers Game Podcast, or our Twitter at the Brothers G Pod.
You did it.
Yep.
You did it. Wow.
That's right. Yeah.
Listen.
Cool.
Last attempt of the video. Ready? It's gonna happen. Almost. Hang on. It's flashing. Kyurem, ready? It's gonna be purple. Here it is, and he's not.
Well, good night, everybody.
Okay, bye.